Ready? Recording and talk about it.
All right, good evening and welcome to the May 17th, 2023 City Council meeting in Sunbury. It is 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor St. John,
Here.
Mrs. Cooper. Here. Mr. Capel.
Here.
Mr. Ghost,
Here.
Mr. Martin,
Here.
and Mr. Grumney.
Here.
And Marie Neff is absent.
Right. We did have minutes that needed to be approved. There was a meeting on May 3rd.
Motion to approve.
That's right. We've got a motion by Mr. Capel, second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mayor St. John
Yes.
and Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
6 days.
All right, and we did have a special meeting on May 13th, 2023. The minutes are included in your packet.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Cooper,
Second.
second by Councilman Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Cooper. Yes. Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
Mayor St. John
Yes.
and Mr. Martin.
Yes.
6 days.
All right, we are on to the visitor section. Are there any scheduled visitors? Any visitors that would like to speak? All right. We're on to committee reports. Mr. Ghost.
Yes, we had the our monthly finance committee meeting just before this one, and you all were here, so won't bore you with all the details, but for the record, we had the bank to book reconciliation statements and description from Dana, Ms. Steffen, and the monthly variance reports presented, and income tax comparison. And but more importantly, we had two other big items talking about funding and financing for the facilities improvements and the J.R. Smith Park financing. Looking at potentially 3 to 4 million on the facilities, pursuing a bond, and then on J.R. Smith. Not sure what we're going to do there. We've saw all the options, so we have some more research to do before we make that decision. But I think that's it.
Really good meeting. Really good discussion in finance. Mr. Grumney?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kaplan?
No.
Mrs. Cooper? Mr. Moore? No. All right. We're on to the police report, and I'm going to be giving the police report here this evening. What page are we on?
14.
Thank you. All right, we do have an officer here representing the Sunbury Police Department. This is Officer George Holden. Let's give it up. Our man. He doesn't do this often, but we're so glad you're here, Officer Holden. All right, I'm going to be giving this. A couple things. We did close the posting for the drone pilot program. Officers, we have 2 that are in the background process. I did want to mention we have an officer that is in the hospital right now. Officer Bowman has been in the hospital for the past 8 days or so. Give a chance, let the chief know you're thinking about him, or if you have his number, I'm sure he would appreciate the call.
If I might ask, was it an illness or an injury?
An illness, I believe.
Okay.
So keep him in your thoughts and prayers, please. Our police department is going to be meeting with the superintendent to talk about communication and probably some emergency preparedness training as well. And then the new cruisers, you can see a rendering on page 15
Mm-hmm.
of the new cruisers, and they went with option A. The only difference is where the American flag is. So these are the Chevy Silverados, and I believe we're waiting on parts from PAR. PAR is our electronic / police gadget provider, the one that puts lights and sirens and all the technology into the car, and then we'll get them over to Sure Science to put the decals on. Any questions for me?
Didn't the chief come to us a while ago with some date options for that police council training that we've been requesting for a few years?
I don't know. Does anybody know? I don't recall.
Maybe we should look back and if those dates have since passed. I remember they were on Wednesdays. They were on the off Wednesdays of council.
I do remember.
So if those dates have passed, maybe we should reconvene with the chief and see if maybe the following week, next Wednesdays, something like that, maybe we can get something on the calendar.
Sounds good. Thank you for the reminder.
Yep.
All right, we're on the administrator report. Mr. Hennessy.
All right, so packet page 16, just 4 quick items. Big Walnut Middle School Annual Day of Service was last Friday. Thank you to Amber, Officer Whiteside, and our service department team. We had a great turnout, 25 plus or minus kids, cemetery, the city building, town square, planted a tree, laid some mulch, really did a nice job. So thank you to them. We have the community profile. This is a project that you had approved us to engage a consultant to help us put together the profile. So it's in your packet. The final product, Jim Leonard was the consultant who put that together for us. It's got a lot of great information about the city and maps about the assets that are in and around the community. I'm going to ask Jim at some point to come to a council meeting, maybe talk through the profile in a little bit more detail. The ODOT outpost, it says here that it's scheduled to be closed today. It actually did close today. So we've purchased that outpost there on South Morning Street. And then the final thing is the street sweeping. We approved the contract for that. I think the last meeting or prior to that. We do have a date. So May 30th through the 2nd, we'll be doing the street sweeping, and we'll put notices in the neighborhoods, but we'll also post on Facebook as well. So questions for me?
For Mr. Hennessy.
When's he get a new nameplate?
Oh, yeah.
As soon as Amber orders one.
Yes.
That's fine.
A little bit of tape.
It's fine.
There you go.
We gotta save some money. We got salaries to improve. Thanks.
I know you don't enjoy this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. You did a great job leading and facilitating the retreat this past weekend. I don't think it could have gone any smoother, and it being a first time for many of us. Awesome job. Great job.
Thank you. So we should have a document ready for you to start to look at the next council meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Gerald.
All right, we're on to the engineers report. Mr. White.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Not a lot of substantive updates. We've been plenty busy, but some of the things are getting relatively the same. At the reservoirs, we've had some challenges with the Department of Natural Resources with dam safety regulations, and we're looking at changing an approach that slightly affects the park project. I'll update the services committee. I'm still gathering information, putting together some cost estimates of what the impact of that will be. I'll update you on that soon. It may require an extension of our NatureWorks grant from a different division of Department of Natural Resources. Still working on that. So basic information. On today's agenda, you have approval of the $520,000 grant from the Department of Public Safety for the Walnut Street bank stabilization project. Pretty excited about that and excited to get rolling with it. Little Walnut Creek Sewer, we're making some progress with that. It is a unique project in that corridor is slapped full of utilities and some challenges. So we're working our way through that and planning to meet with the county engineer to go over some things to make sure we're consistent with their roundabout that they're building at the northern end of that project. The traffic calming efforts have not started on preparing plans for that, but that should be able to have that done in June, so we can move forward with that with a trial basis on some painted traffic calming efforts to see how the public responds to that and then move forward based on what the results of that are.
Can I pause on that one just for 1
Sure.
second? I think we need to, I may have mentioned this, we need to reach out to that community somehow and get their feedback. And I, oh, Cindy Cooper, can you lead that? Can you call somebody that runs their Facebook page or something?
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We just want to make sure we're communicating with that community because there was a lot of public feedback on the street.
Certainly.
The street safety, the speeding and things like that. I want to make sure that like if we're marking up the street, they know what we're doing it for. And it's that we're listening to their feedback.
Absolutely. And
So
I'd
I'll
be,
talk to you.
okay, I'd be happy to help put together some exhibits, some information for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. We finally got an MS4 annual report nearly complete, just filling out a few more pieces of information, which will feed our stormwater utility feasibility study. So I'm hoping to be able to jump back into that in June and get moving with that thing because it's been delayed much too long. The 2023 Street Improvements Program bid opening is tomorrow at noon. Hopefully we'll have some good results with that. Looking forward to taking care of that tomorrow. Rolling Hills and Price Pond subdivision. We've had some concerns with erosion and sediment control and frankly, good housekeeping out there. And so we've been working with the developers and the engineers and the subcontractors that do the erosion sediment control to try to up their game a little bit on that. I think it's been positive. Hopefully we'll see better housekeeping on those streets here in the near future and the grading on the property itself. And that's all I've got unless anybody has some questions.
Any questions for Mr. White? All right, good update. Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Moving right along here. We're on the resolutions. No third readings, on the second readings. Resolution number 2023.11, a resolution to establish a cash reserve policy for the city of Sunbury. We're under resolution number 2023.12, a resolution to establish a debt policy for the city of Sunbury. City first, by the way. Right? Yeah, let's go. All right, and we're on first readings, resolution number 2023.13. Resolution authorizing the appointment of members to the Sunbury Meadows Community Development Authority Board of Trustees by the Council of the City of Sunbury, Ohio. We need action on that?
No, you can have your 3 readings on it. That is the NCA for Sunbury Meadows. When that was formed, we were still a village. When you form an MCA, approximate cities involved. Well, when you're a village, you can't be approximate city. Makes sense. At that point, Delaware County was involved. Now that we're a city, Delaware County says we really don't want to be involved with appointing board members to that NCA anymore. We're appointing people in the courthouse that are just willing to stick up their hand. They don't have any connection to Sunbury. Are you willing to take it over? Talked it over with the administration. We said, yes, it's logical that we would do that. So don't know. I actually inquired about vacancies now. I'm not sure if there are or not, but this is just a transfer. They've already passed it or in the process of passing it to transfer that appointment authority to us. So that's what I asked to do. There's no real urgency to it that I know of. So just be a first reading tonight.
I need to preface what I'm about to say. This is a joke what I'm going to say, but I use analogies a lot. This is like a parent that has an adult kid that they're like, I'm not going to pay your cell phone bill anymore. This is just like that. The county's telling us, hey, we need to stand up for ourselves. So that was a joke. Okay, sounds good. Resolution number 2023.14, a resolution approving a Creative Healthy Communities mini grant between the Delaware Public Health District and the city of Sunbury. This is good news. First reading. Are we ready to take action on this? Is there any
Yeah,
part
I
of
think
it
this was the one Steve had left. Left the instructions that we do need to get this one back to the county.
They pushed our deadline for
Yep.
us.
Thank
It was
you.
already due, so.
I'll make a motion on the suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cooper. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'll make a motion on the resolution.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Cooper. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, we are on to resolution number 2023.15. This is still first reading. A resolution authorizing the administrator of the city of Sunbury to execute a grant agreement with the state of Ohio Department of Public Safety, Ohio Emergency Management Agency as recipient of grant funds from the Federal Emergency Management Agency from the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Whoa.
Isn't it?
A lot of- that's a lot of federal dollars.
We got another grant, draft an ordinance. She handed it to me and said, you need to deal with this.
So FEMA has a federal disaster grant program at the federal level. They distribute money to the states and administered through the state level. The state is the recipient. We are now a sub-recipient on an application that we filed with the state, but it's actually federal FEMA money that we are getting. This is for the Walnut Street improvements. There is a local match involved. It's a 10% match, I believe, but it's a great grant, 500 and.
Yeah, it's 522,000, I believe,
Mhm.
569 total with our.
Big money. It's to secure that bank where the street is located. Definitely a public safety issue. Don't know as far as our timing on that.
I don't either until we need, first time is we need to get that back within 30
Right.
days when we'll receive it, and then I need to read their requirements for what we need to put together. I haven't delved into the detail of that yet, but in the next few months, we should be starting to put plans together and hope to
Right.
coordinate with.
But we do need the resolution because we've got 30 days to get the response to them. They sent it to Steve on May 3rd. So we've got until June 3rd to get this document back. This was our last council meeting before that.
So we need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mhm.
I'll make that motion.
A motion by Councilman Martin,
Second.
second by Councilman Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Motion on resolution 2023.15.
Motion on the resolution by Mr. Martin,
Second.
second by Mr. Capel. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
and Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
6 yeas.
And since we went ahead and acted on that tonight, I'd be remiss if I didn't put a shout out to Dave Parkinson, former engineer, who did a lot of work on this, and those are not small dollars. That's a project that needs to happen, and he really worked on this hard to get it. So he didn't get to see it all the way through, but Dave, I know you're watching. Hopefully somebody will let you know. We gave you credit. He did, and that was during COVID, and that was with some intense conversations with the townships and the county engineer. He did a heck of a job with that. And really good, very good. Almost as good as the current city engineer.
Hopefully he's watching on his phone on the 19th hole or something. Good deal. We're on to ordinances, third readings. Ordinance number 2022.50 going to remain tabled. Let's see how long this will be out there. Anything we need to do to help out? You need us to get a shovel?
I thought the tabling was a 6-month maximum, wasn't it, Mr. Brink?
That's true.
I'd have to look. I think it's 4 months, actually.
I think
We
we're
need to
past
look at our
4.
dates on that. We
Yeah,
may
we
need to
do.
extend.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right, we're on to second readings, first readings. Ordinance number 2023.10. An ordinance amending positions and pay ranges for employees of the city of Sunbury, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. This is Mr. Hennessy.
Yeah, so we're asking for an adjustment in the top end rate for the service supervisor position and doing a corresponding increase for the for the sewer supervisor position as well, because these have essentially tracked each other. I did receive word today that the candidate that we've identified has indicated to me that he intends to accept the position with this minor adjustments. So hopefully council will support that.
I'd like to make a
What
motion.
position is that?
This is the service supervisor position.
So this is increasing the ceiling of the range.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So from 36 to 38 is the top end now.
And this is the supervisor, not the superintendent.
Supervisor, not the superintendent. Yeah.
Superintendent max is like 67,
It's
69.
$39.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Good to go. All right, I will, you need this right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was
Make a
there,
motion to suspend the rules,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilman Ghost. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
I'll make a motion on the emergency,
Second.
second by Councilman Ghost. Excuse me, discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
I'd like to make a motion on ordinance number 2023.10.
Second.
Second by Council President Ghost. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes, please.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, we have new and unfinished business. We have two items on here, Coon excavating Freedom Park. I think, do you want me to take this, Daryl, or do you want to do it?
If you want to go ahead and I'll fill in any gaps.
We need to enter into an agreement to flatten out all the stuff out of Freedom Park parking lot. Andy Coon's a good guy, local guy, and we want to go into an agreement with him on it. He's provided a quote and you can knock out the work before the Frisbee golf tournament, disc golf,
Right.
excuse me.
But just one other point, and that is we will seek reimbursement of the city's expense of the $12,000 from the contractor that dumped the spoils out there. So we've been in contact with that contractor. They've committed to make the payments. We're just changing who the payment is made to, us versus Mr. Coon directly.
And for the future, are there any other planned dumps from any vendors?
I think we'll manage that one a little bit differently going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I agree.
And tell them a little bit about the conversation you and I had before the meeting.
Yeah, so
About the
Mr.
condition of the driveway.
Yeah, Mr. Martin was indicating that, that there may need to be a little additional work done either by our service team or when, Mr. Coon has the equipment out there, just the gravel road all the way to the back. So Mr. Coon's going to focus on the back portion. That's what the spoils is about. But, there are some chunks of asphalt that have been previously
Of
dropped.
asphalt in the driveway.
Yeah, that had been previously dropped. So we'll ask
It
him
costs
to.
you a tire on your car, so.
So he'll have a roller out there, so we'll ask him to roll those as well, just to improve that.
Was this the most fair and reasonable bid?
Oh,
Or
I
were there
think-
any other?
No, there weren't any. I mean, Steve was involved in this. This is a very fair price for the amount of work that's being done.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
6 yeas.
May is a 5 Wednesday month and we were scheduled to have a meeting on May 31st, 2023. But I believe that there's no business to cover at that one.
I make a motion that we don't have a meeting on May 31st.
I second. I'll be gone.
4 seconds. The motion was by Mr. Martin. I think it was,
I think Mr. Ghost was first to second it.
yeah.
I'll take it.
he was eager.
Yeah. Mr. Ghost on second discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper, 6 yeas.
We're on to doing unfinished business. Mr. Ghost.
Nothing, sir.
Mr. Grundy. Capel.
Nothing here.
Mr. Cooper.
I just want to say congratulations to all the Big Walnut graduates that are going to be graduating. here this year.
Wait, is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Friday evening
Yes.
at the new stadium?
Yes, I think by default. Yeah. Well, it's supposed to rain, but yeah, hopefully.
Man, I'm sorry. I was just confirming, we're still on track for Memorial Day, bleachers and all that. Yes, okay.
I
Awesome.
confirmed.
Yes, John.
Okay, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
with Mr. Doherty. Somebody
Well,
else.
we're bringing in a company that's gonna bring them in and drop them off, and I sent him another email, just a reminder, and he says, I've got you on the schedule. Just-
Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Grumney, for running that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mr. Martin.
So last week on this Facebook thing called something neighborhood, oh, I don't know what it's called. Somebody posted that we're taking the general statue down on the square. And other people reacted to it so vehemently. And then 2 days later, the person put a photograph of the rock out there without the horse on it. It was the same photograph that was posted when that rock was put there. The trees that are around out there aren't in the picture, nothing. So just, I'm on the Historical Society board. Oh, and I'm on council, and I just want to sit right here and say, we have never discussed removing that statue from the square. And I want it to be on the record that it's not anything anybody is talking about doing except this person making up this nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any discussion, public or private, about anything like that.
I believe that was a social experiment. Obviously, I don't know what the intent was, but yeah, it's not true. We're not taking down the statue. I did have two things. Never mind, I have one thing. Fireworks, we need to start locking up our commitment to the fireworks this year. I think we contributed $5,000, or it was either $5,000 or 50% of the 12,500. I can't remember.
I think it was 50%. Sure.
I assume Cindy Arndt needs to know that pretty soon.
Do we have to vote to approve fireworks?
We usually vote to approve the contribution. Civic puts it on, so it's not our, or excuse me, Civic puts it on, so it's not our event, but we do contribute to it financially, and we started that quite a few years ago.
Long time.
And yes, there was an email today from Cindy. They're looking to firm up the contract, reserve the date, have everything in place, insurance and so forth. They need to fill in the amount.
Did that email come to you, Mr. Breen?
Yes, to a group of us, I believe.
If you wanted to just like authorize me too, I mean, or something.
It should be whatever we contribute, if you could give feedback, but it'd be within your spending authority.
Right.
So, but if you wanted to look at a number plus added or from last year or something, you could do that. As far as feedback to the mayor.
Okay. Any feedback or
I'm agreeable to the usual, which has been for many years, about half, 50%.
Sounds good. You okay?
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have. All right, any other new or unfinished business?
I was able to just, I think personally determine where Cutler's thing, it is a 4-month.
Okay.
It had a third reading on January 4th. So we are now outside of 4 months, just barely by this meeting. If you want to do a motion to allow it to remain tabled through at least the first meeting in June, and then maybe we can get him here to give us an update on any additional extension he might need.
I'd like to make that motion.
A motion by Mr. Martin to extend. Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion.
And that would be for ordinance 2022.50, correct? Currently tabled.
That's right. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I didn't, but I will. Motion to adjourn.
A motion by Mr. Martin to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Grumney. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Martin,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
6 yeas. We are adjourned.